in Japan, there's a very strong boxing of people into different categories. Basically, you're either Japanese or you're an outsider, you're a foreigner. Nowadays, there's also a box for being mixed, half Japanese. They call it hafu. はじめまして、アンダーソン静香と申します。カナダ出身です。生まれ育ちがカナダなんですけど、18歳の時に日本に初めて引っ越してきました。18歳の時にこちらで、大学を始めて、その後は、タレント活動とか、YouTube も、いろんな MC だったり、いろんな仕事をさせていただいています。父が、カナダ人で、母が日本人です。The first catalyst was my grandparents asking me to come to university in Japan because I had never lived in Japan before. I didn't get to see them that much growing up. Kind of planted this idea in my head and I started thinking about it. And coincidentally, at the same time, I was also pondering the idea of maybe starting to work in the entertainment industry because I always wanted to sing or do some kind of performing work, but I was super shy. And I thought maybe going to a new city in a new country is a good way to just restart my life and jump into the entertainment industry. So I kind of saw Tokyo as a big opportunity for me to start a new career and a new life. And I think, yeah, that's what started it. But there was a language barrier, even though I could speak a little Japanese. I couldn't speak as well as I thought I could, was the big shock when I came here. I would try to talk to people in shops or on the phone and I would have no idea what they were saying. I couldn't read anything, which was a huge thing. And it's always a little confusing for Japanese people who see me because I look pretty Japanese for a mixed race person and I can speak a little bit. So when I can't understand everything you say, or if I can't read something, they're always really confused. So that was kind of the tricky adjustment. Like learning how to read and write, learning how to be completely fluent, and just being able to do things on my own. So that was probably the big struggle first moving here. I basically work freelance in the entertainment industry. I've done a little bit of work for the national broadcasting company in Japan called NHK, and as well as sometimes stage events where I present, basically, so stage presenter. And I also present on YouTube. I host a few YouTube videos on a couple of different channels. The main one I'm working on now is called Tokyo Creative Talk. And we have a fun little talk segment called Tokyo Creative Tea Time. And I'm the host of that, as well as other travel videos on YouTube as well. Just recently, actually, I was able to do a movie audition for surprisingly a Hollywood movie. I just knew it was like an American movie and they were filming in LA, but apparently it's going to be a big production, and they were casting for the lead role and they're looking for an Asian female lead. So for me, that was very encouraging to see that they actually were trying to come to Japan to find Japanese actors for the story and make it as authentic as possible. But in terms of Japan itself, I think Japan is a little bit of a different place because they don't seem to care so much about Asian representation in Hollywood, primarily because they're so separate from it. Like Japan has their own entertainment industry and their own big movie stars, and of course everyone is Japanese. So I don't think that the issue of whitewashing or Asian representation really comes up at all in Japanese conversation here. If anything, on the other hand, I would like to see more multicultural representation in Japanese films and Japanese TV programs, like the flip side of it. Because nowadays, Tokyo is becoming so international and multicultural that I think that it would be a high time to have a foreign actor star in a movie here with other Japanese, speaking Japanese, of course, like just proving that foreign people can also speak Japanese when they live here. I think it'd be cool to see the opposite in Japan at some point. but we're still a little ways to go with that. When I was growing up, I was very secure in my identity as a Canadian while living in Canada. I think it's because the city that I grew up in was quite multicultural, and so it didn't really matter where you were born per se or where your parents come from. But strangely, after coming to Japan is when I began to experience identity issues. So after I came here, people started asking me as soon as they met me, like, are you half? And that finally started to become, it was forced upon me to consider that part of my identity, even though it wasn't so much before, surprisingly. So I guess it was a little bit of a struggle trying to accept the fact that I am not 100% Canadian anymore, even though that's what I thought that I was. And now I'm being forced to be viewing myself as half Japanese, half Canadian. Also, there was a lot of doubt about what I am after coming to Japan. They would tell me things like, you don't look Canadian, if I told them that I was Canadian. And if I told them I was Japanese, they would also say, oh, but you're half, right? Like, you look half. So they never really just accepted what I said that I was. So that was kind of stem for my issues with identity. I started to question myself, like, who am I actually? I never questioned it before, but which box do I fit in? Where do I belong in this society where most people are Japanese, even though it's changing a lot? I think I kind of was just taking it in stride and taking each experience as they came to me. So sometimes there were definitely times where I felt so frustrated at, I don't know, I want to say ignorance, but it's a little bit of a strong word. Sometimes some Japanese people that I would talk to, they just wouldn't accept who I was. They'd say, but you don't look this way, you don't look that way, but how can you be Canadian with a Japanese name? Like, just silly questions like that. I think it kind of turned into a little bit of microaggressions where they didn't intend to be rude, and the questions themselves were not rude at all. I just heard them so often that I was getting really frustrated and wondering why do I have to be interrogated every time someone meets me? I still think that home is probably Canada, just because that was where I was born. That's where I spent all of my childhood. So I think I have this nostalgia for Canada as being home, like my original home. And I still miss it and I want to go back as much as I can. But now, after being here for almost 10 years, I really do feel like Japan has become my home as well. And I'm so comfortable here now that I don't actually see myself moving back to Canada, which suggests that I think my perception of where home is more here now. This is a really unclear answer, but I think my childhood home is Canada and my current home is here. So both are kind of almost equally my home. You can find me on YouTube on a channel called Tokyo Creative Talk. I am the host of that channel, and we have a lot of fun videos talking about Japan-related topics. And you can also find me on Instagram, of course. My username is xshizyx. I am also occasionally on NHK World, which is a TV channel that broadcasts all around the world. So if you have the channel, keep an eye out for me, and you may see me there as well. Yeah, hope you guys see me somewhere.